What's up, you beautiful blessed boys and girls? Welcome to the channel. This is Tyler Tote. Guys, I'm especially fired up today. I have scoured the internet, the streets of YouTube, far and wide. I have today for you the top 5 most impactful, most important ways, change your mindset, change your life, things I have found from other creators out there over the years. I can't wait to introduce these to you guys. I truly believe it's such a gift to live in the era we do today, where we can find the best and the experts and these people that are great and have these awesome ways of thinking. We can dive into their minds and we can get a glimpse in and learn from them and better our own lives. So guys, let's jump in today and let's go over those top 5 bangers to change your life. Let's get it. The first one, now you'd have to be hiding and living under a rock today to not have heard of this guy. Joe Rogan, hosts the world's biggest podcast, recently signed with Spotify. He said something back when he was just on the YouTube streets before the Spotify $100 million man deal that really changed my life. It was 4 or 5 years ago, and I'll never forget, he said, hey, if you want to be successful, pretend like there's a film crew following you around all day. How hard would you hit that workout if you were being broadcast to millions of people all around? How present of a father would you be? Would you be the dad just sitting there on the couch posting up, telling your kids to scram? Or if there was a film crew literally filming where everybody could see, how would you act? Now, I took this a step further and it really lit something under me to say, you know what? When I start sharing, and recently after this, I started sharing on social media, and now I just use this as a cheat code. People always say, well, how do you come up with so much content? I think I've tweeted 165,000 times over the last 4.5 years. Not once have I ever thought, oh man, I need to come up with content. This phrase that Joe Rogan said has resonated with me through my whole content journey. I just try and live an on-fire life as though hundreds of thousands or millions of people were watching me, and then just simply share it. So you know what? The end of the night when I'm tired, I feel like laying down on the couch telling my kids to just do whatever, I think, what if millions of people were watching me? What would I do? What's the image I would want to put out into the world? All right, Ty. Deep breath, suck it up, let's go, let's lead the kids on one last adventure, let's go. And I just simply click tweet or whatever that might be. So this is a real big cheat code. I often tell men in marriages as well when they come to me complaining, my wife doesn't do this or that. And I'll tell that guy, I'll say, hey, what if we had a film crew following you around all day? How do you talk to her? What kind of energy do you bring to the home? Are you laying around complaining about things? What if we reviewed that film? Would we see a servant leader on fire trying to give his wife and kids life? Or would we see this other guy? So number 1 way to change your mindset, change your life, copy Joe Rogan here. Imagine hundreds of thousands, millions of people filming you all the time throughout the day. How hard are you gonna work? How hard are you gonna get after it? What kind of intentionality are you gonna bring to your day? Adopt that mindset and it's a game changer. Number 2 is my main man, Naval. This guy is an absolute legend. He's a philosopher, a billionaire investor. This guy is one of the smartest guys in the world. He was actually on Joe Rogan's podcast 6 or 7 years ago. This was the first podcast I ever listened to where I took notes. I re-listened to this thing 3 or 4 times. I'll link it down below. If anybody wants those notes, by the way, just shoot me a message. I'll happily send over all the notes to you. But this was the first time in my life where I realized I don't just need to come on the internet and consume garbage and argue with people. I can actually learn from some of these really smart people and better my life. And so one of the biggest takeaways that he said here that really changed my life is he said, happiness is something that can be learned. Just by adopting the mindset that I'm a happy person, telling other people I'm a happy, positive person, human beings have a way of wanting to be consistent, and that'll actually make you happier. I took this further and said, I'm going to practice gratitude every day. I expanded upon this and said, I'm going to change my life. Now, if you knew me prior to 6-7 years ago, I could find a complaint for almost anything. I always joked, man, if I won the lottery, first thing I'd say is how much I got to pay in taxes, right? You can ask my ex-wife how much I complained. You can ask my current wife. The first couple of years of our marriage, I was very good at complaining and finding problems. I even prided myself in that, to be honest. Oh, I'm realistic. I'm this or that. I just decided after listening to this and digging in a little deeper, I want to be happy. I want to be joyful. I want to be that guy that's on fire. Nobody's ever said, hey, that guy Tom over there, he complains all the time. Yeah, I'd love to hang out with him more. Complaining is one of the worst traits in a human being. And so I said, if I want joy and happiness and some of these things, I need to adopt that mindset and change the way I view myself and just start telling it, yeah, I'm a positive guy. The first step, and this is very easy for me, is I just started journaling gratitude every morning and telling people, yeah, I focus on blessings more. Now, at the beginning and early stages, it still wasn't true. My mind was still going to a lot of negative things, but it's just like a muscle at the gym. The more you train it, the more your mind looks to see the good. Naval had a really powerful quote later on in this podcast where he said, if you're so smart, why aren't you happy? And I know a lot of people in today's world that think like this. Well, I'm just realistic. There's so many problems around. And I would just urge you to unlearn that, as I have. Use this quote and say, you know what? If I'm an intelligent person and I'm smart, why am I choosing to be miserable? I believe it's a choice, and what we focus on expands, and how you view yourself. I'm a positive, happy, joyful person. You say that to yourself enough, you practice it, you get up and you live it out, change your life. The third one, this is an awesome woman I love. She has an amazing story, and it's Mel Robbins. Mel Robbins' quote said, you are one decision away from completely changing your life, and stop waiting to feel like it to make it. Now, I had always kind of heard growing up, or somewhere in my 20s, I had adopted this, well, if you don't feel it today, just kind of sleep on it, maybe you'll feel it tomorrow. And I don't know where that came from, to be honest, but I just always had that. I'd always see these other more successful people than me back then, and I'd think they just must have higher levels of motivation than me. They're just always getting after it, and I'm not. Well, one of these days, I'll just wake up and feel like it, maybe. Once I read this, I really realized that a lot of these champions and these people that are accomplishing a lot, they just get up and do it regardless of their feelings. It doesn't matter if they wake up and feel motivated or not, they do what needs to be done. This really became as simple as me of saying, you know what, right now, if you're watching this, you can choose to, raise your left hand, raise your right hand. As simple as we can do those things, we're in control of our actions. I'm in control of my thoughts. I can make myself and exert control over my mind to say, you know what? I'm going to do what needs to be done regardless of how I feel. Nothing has changed my life more than this simple framework in my brain. I'm one committed decision away from going any direction I choose in my life. There's nothing that's going to stop me outside of me. And once you realize that you hold the power and you're in control, all you have to do is every day get up and execute, move a little inch closer to that dream life, and anything is possible. So I urge you to check out Mel Robbins. She's got some other great stuff too. The fourth one, and guys, I absolutely love this guy. I actually got a chance to meet him. This is one of many miracles that was happening in my life about 5.5, 6 years ago. Right when I started on this big self-improvement journey, I remember being at the airport alone, flying into Vegas actually. My family wasn't going to be here. And lo and behold, who walks right in front of me? The hip hop preacher, the man himself, Eric Thomas. He was kind enough to take a photo with me. I'll link it, I'll put it up here. This dude was awesome, man. I told him that I listened to a lot of his content and videos, and it really had a profound impact as I was starting to change my life. He sat there and chatted with me for 4 or 5 minutes, took a photo. Really great guy, man. Just kind of instilled some belief into me. Eric Thomas had this awesome quote early on that I just ingrained and put deep in my soul. And he said, if you want to be successful as bad as you want to breathe, then you will be successful. And I really would think about that on days, again, I didn't feel like grinding the night shift after working the corporate job, or days I didn't feel like writing, or, when I'd come up against a wall and it feels like you're failing, and you gotta keep going and pushing through that. And I thought, as bad as I want to breathe, if I want to be successful, nothing can stop me. Eric Thomas has an absolutely amazing story. He was not granted many of the privileges in life that I have been. This guy grew up in and out of homeless shelters, didn't really have the support system, and through sheer determination and will and work ethic, this guy has achieved more than most could ever. This guy is an absolute champion. He now is a motivational speaker for athletes, CEOs, famous people all over the world. And he just always has this saying, I might not have the network you have. I don't get to go to the same country clubs and golf. But you know what? You wake up at 5 a.m., I'll wake up at 3. You're reading 2 books a month, I'll read 10. And he just always has that next gear, that next level of work ethic, because he wants to succeed as bad as he wants to breathe. So if you internalize that the way I did, I feel like those limiting beliefs just get shattered and you truly can accomplish anything you want. Number 5, the last one, and I absolutely love this guy, Jim Rohn. If you're not super familiar with him, he was a life coach and really one of the first great life coaches. He, in fact, coached Tony Robbins. This guy is full of wisdom, and he had one big quote that really hit me. At this time, I was managing a bank and really starting to self-develop and want to get out and chase my own dreams. And he had this quote that said, your life doesn't get better by chance, it gets better by change. He went on to elaborate and say, don't join that Is It Friday club yet. Don't give up on your dreams. And he talked a lot about how so many people just settle in, and they settle into a mediocre existence. They're comfortable. They can pay their bills, so they stop growing and learning. They're comfortable. They got the wife, so they can stop dating and pursuing. They're comfortable. They're done playing high school or college sports, so they stop working out. And I really realized that when I read that and studied his videos, that this is me. I got the girl, I got the job, I got the house, I got the things, and I just took my foot off the gas. And I said, if I want to change my life, it ain't just going and buying a lottery ticket and hoping. That's not a plan, that's a daydream. So if I want to be in control of my life, then I've got to make the plan and I've got to execute that every day. I remember shortly after reading this quote, I started meal prepping instead of eating out. I started bringing my clothes to the office and getting walks or wind sprints in every day at lunch instead of just zoning out to my phone. And I said, if I want to create the life that I want to create for my family, it will not happen by chance. It's by change, and I can be the author of that change. So I love Jim Rohn. If you guys don't know a lot of his stuff, I'll link it below. Absolutely beast of a human. The impact he's made on the world is just absolutely massive. I highly recommend checking him out. On the channel, I'm always giving you bonus content. We promised 5. We're going to hit you with 6. I couldn't leave this one off. This is actually a man that I consider one of my best friends in life. Great guy. I'll put him up here. If you're not familiar with him, I don't know where you've been. It's Zuby. Now, Zubie just has a plethora of great quotes, but this one is my all-time favorite. Zubie says, people that are too weak to follow their dreams will often try and talk you out of yours. Now, there's a million things I probably love and admire about Zubie, but my goodness, this guy, you talk about being an overnight success 15 years later. He was selling CDs on the street for 7-8 years. He was just a hustler, waking up every day, creating his dream. Now, Zubie's super intelligent, graduated from Oxford, and along this time of the 7-8 years, 10 years of grinding, everybody was telling him, you're kind of foolish. A lot of people around him and in that time were, saying things like, well, why wouldn't you just work a normal job? Well, he had this vision for his life. He knew where he could go. And my goodness, seeing where he's at now, and I believe he's still in the first or second inning of the impact he'll make on the world. It's in the millions and millions. I've actually led 8 retreats now, 8 different men's retreats. There has not been one where when we're all talking, hey, how'd you find each other? What are you hoping to accomplish here? Zubie's name comes up every time. Oh, I found so-and-so through Zubie. He brought me here. He started talking about mindset and this and that, and it really had an impact on me. So I look at one man's life that's absolutely sold out, on fire, and this dude's about the most humble dude you can get to, the impact that can make. I'll link a lot of Zubie stuff below too. I was honored to be on his podcast 4 or 5 months ago, and I'll link that below too. But if you haven't checked out a lot of his content, I urge you to check it out. In fact, my only gripe about Zubie, it's kind of a funny thing. Every time I see my mom, she's always telling me about Zubie's content. Oh, did you see Zubie had this guest? She's the biggest Zubie fan in the world. And I say, Mom, I put out content too. Did you watch mine? So we're always talking about that back and forth, but definitely check out Zubie. So those are my top 5 bangers on the internet to change your mindset, change your life. I hope you guys found a lot of value from this. I really will say it again. We live in an era now where it's so amazing. People all throughout human history would have killed for the opportunities we have. There's so much knowledge, local libraries. You can go get any book for free on YouTube. The best experts in the world are teaching you for free. You can find unlimited resources to better your life right now. The caveat is there's never been more distractions. There's never been more things vying for your attention, arguments online, everything's the most important election, the most important this or that. Everything's breaking news. All it's really doing is breaking your peace. So I would urge you today to use this video as a little template. Learn like I did. Guys, I spent 34 years of my life waking up to go argue about Nancy Pelosi or Donald Trump online. Who cares? I'm going to be the master of my life. You can be the master of your life. You can drive and create any life you want if you follow the right people, you apply their wisdom, you seek that truth, and you really wake up every day regardless of feelings and execute your dreams, move an inch and an inch and an inch closer. And guys, you'll wake up and be there. So hope you guys have the greatest day of your life. Thanks for tuning in. Go be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Let's change the world, baby.